Hello, everyone. Liana here, holistic wellness coach, calling from beautiful sunny Sydney today. And welcome to the Redox Connection, where we learn and discuss about our beautiful, amazing, incredible bodies and how and what we can do to support our overall well-being. Our special guest today is Dr. Ray Dixon. Hello, Dr. Ray Dixon, and welcome. Dr. Ray Dixon is a chiropractor and naturopath with 40 plus years of practice from beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And he retired a few years ago in amazing Thailand, where he lives with his beautiful wife, until he came across this incredible technology, breakthrough technology in cellular health, that actually brought him out of retirement. And he's now embraced this new role as a Redox educator. Is that correct, Dr. Ray? Is this summarizing a bit of where you are at now?
Absolutely. That's exactly what happened. Unplanned, you don't know what discoveries are coming to fore on planet Earth, because there's always something happening. And so it was definitely the product, the Redox product available in that blue bottle behind me that captivated my attention. But perhaps it's better to go back in time.
Yes, that's exactly what I'd like to ask you. Let's reverse engineer it. This is where you are today. And we're grateful that you're here to explain and teach us further on this incredible, amazing molecules, Redox. But I would love to know, where did it all start from? Where did your passion for health and wellness actually start?
Very interesting journey, actually. Very interesting journey. It was almost like it was planned, but not by. Look, I grew up, my parents were immigrants from England to Australia. They were called 10-pound poms back then, because that's what they paid to get to Australia, 10 pounds.
Wow.
And we arrived in 1964. I was 9 years, 10 years of age, 9 actually. Just was going through normal schooling, had no particular enlightened views in my looking back history. By the time I was 16, 17, I was changing somewhat, as you do at that time of life. I kind of had become a little bit more philosophical. I was looking for my raison d'etre. I was looking for something in life, because what I was seeing was not making me fulfilled. So I was sort of late secondary school, and I read about yoga. I just picked inadvertently a book up. I read something on yoga. I was an asthmatic at that time. I got asthma at about the age of 10, and I remember crying myself to sleep a number of times with the stress of struggling to breathe. Obviously, I was looking for solutions there, but I didn't know there was anything outside of the mainstream allopathic medicine. I was on the typical Ventolin of the time. But all of a sudden, I'm reading about yoga, and it looked interesting, not just physical hatha yoga, people, Nani yoga, Raja yoga, the whole deal, philosophically. And this was making a lot of sense. And I thought, wow, I'm going to go do yoga physically. And then I went on to study yoga philosophy. Well, that lady was called Joyce Coughlin, and her husband was George Coughlin. Croydon was where the yoga school was, and his clinic. He was a chiropractor, naturopath. I loved the yoga. She was a wonderful teacher. She's passed on now. And I was just enthralled. I was just loving the yoga. So this beginnings of the philosophical journey just exploded. Now, she recommended I see her husband, George Coughlin, chiropractor, naturopath, and she said he'll cure your asthma. That's what she said. Now, I can say here on this call, I use that word cure very, very carefully, and very, very rarely. Even though I do cure many things, I don't claim to, because it's a very powerful word, cure. But she said that, and he did. So I've actually never had it since. So he treated me on those ensuing months that I was also doing yoga. So we're talking within 4 months, I'd never had asthma since, and I'm 66, 67 in November. Well, now I found what I was looking for. It was an instant recognition. This is what I want to be. This is what I want to do when I grow up. Mind you, I was 18 then, but a lot of growing up after 18. So I did. The very next year was 1974. I entered the Southern School of Therapies. It is still there to this day in Melbourne, Australia. And I became an osteopath first, a naturopath second. They were legislating registration for osteopaths and chiropractors in Australia at that time. It was quite political. So for the purposes of getting assured of registration, I went on and did chiropractic. Now, that was at what's now called RMIT University, Bundoora campus. It didn't have that name then. It was actually called Preston Institute of Technology way back in the early 80s. So that's where I chiropractic. So, but in the interim, I was already practicing. So once I had my osteopathic qualification, I was practicing with the same people. But they already had a successful clinic and yoga school. So I did not have to build a practice. Like I said, synchronicity. It was instant. As soon as I had an hour, it was full. There were people waiting because Dr. Cogman was busy. I was busy. So as soon as I had a free hour, it was full. So it was a very surreal experience for me. Of course, I went on practicing with them for over 40 years. I stopped counting at 40, Liana. And I still practice in Phuket, Thailand now. So it's naturopathic medicine, herbal medicine, nutrition, diet, supplements, homeopathy, dry needle. That's been my whole life, is practice and helping.
Incredible. That's why I really wanted you to say this, because I mean, I went through your whole the references, and it's incredible, because not only you're teaching too, correct?
Yeah, but that came in my last stage in Australia before I came here to live. I'd been to India in 2000, 2001. I was doing some educating and teaching over there on nutritional products, actually. And then when I came back, things had changed a lot. My partner had retired pretty much, and I needed to resurrect the clinic somewhat. I'd been away for a while, and so I had a bit of free time. So it was an opportunity to give back in a way. Of course, I was paid to lecture, but the fact is, I then became a lecturer at the Australian College of Natural Medicine, which is the largest teaching institute in the Southern Hemisphere. They're in the capital city of Australia, they're in New Zealand, and overseas as well. So I lectured though in Melbourne, in the campus on the corner of Elizabeth and La Trobe Street. It is still there. And I taught mainly in the science department. So this is anatomy, physiology, pathophysiology, but I did teach nutrition, history and philosophy of natural medicine, clinical humanities. There was a bunch of subjects I taught, but I was mainly in the science department. And I did that for 16 years alongside the clinic. And I came to live July 2017 in right here in Phuket, Thailand. And I was essentially retiring. I mean, my view was, look, I'll see some patients. I will never advertise. I'll go word of mouth. I'm happy to help people, but I do not want to go back to 12-hour days seeing patients confined in the box of a consultation room. So it's an interesting path when you look back, because becoming a lecturer is teaching of a different kind. You're not actually one-on-one in a consultation room. That is education too. And I should remind everyone that the derivation of the meaning of the word doctor is teacher, by the way. So, but it's teaching of a different kind in a consultation room than lecturing to I mean, my largest classes had 80 people. Average was 30 to 40. So as an educator in that sense, you learn different skills. It's very interesting how it's all come together now with things like this. Zooming around the world and, reaching the world, all right here from my base in Phuket, Thailand, educating on redox signaling molecules and health, and we'll talk more about that. So you can ask about that stage in my life when you're ready.
Absolutely. I really want to know about that too. What I'm going to ask is what motivates you now to come on these calls? And I mean, when I asked Dr. Ray, come on and help us understand in an easy way, because I've heard and I've listened to you for hours, and I could listen to you even more about different topics and the way you teach. You make things sound so simple. That's why I wanted you on these calls, so that you can help us understand a bit more. But why did you say yes immediately? What motivates you to still be so involved?
Remember what I said, that I found my raison d'etre. I found my reason for existence in life when I was 18 years of age. It hasn't changed. My reason for existence was to help and heal and participate in the natural healing journey. So I didn't have to reinvigorate myself. Redox signaling molecule is just the greatest health product that's ever been discovered. Redox signaling molecules were only discovered in the late 90s, and the first ever supplemental product available from redox molecules has been on the market for 12 years. So it's a no-brainer for me. It was just the next chapter in the natural health healing journey of life for me, and to help people. So there was no new revelation in terms of my reason for being and existing and being happy to educate. That was always there from when I was 18. It was just the new technology and the new product that reinvigorated, if you like, and brought me 100% out of retirement, because it is the greatest product regarding health and allowing the body to heal itself that has ever existed. So it's extremely exciting for me. I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Wow, beautiful. I love it. So thank you for just telling us a bit about your story. And obviously there's so many other little details on that we can discuss about later on. Like one of them, but before we leave the call today, I just want to ask, who brought you, where did you hear about them for the first time, about these redox signaling molecules?
Friend and a patient. The friend is Lorraine Babat. She is a 5 times heavyweight karate champion of the world. She became personal trainer to Russell Crowe. I knew her as a teacher at Lilydale High School, and quite frankly, that was my high school. But of course, I'm older than Lorraine. So she was actually the phys ed teacher, physical education at Lilydale High School. She was a patient. She was a friend. We did karate together. So she's the first one to mention it to me, and it's very important to note, I paid no attention. I figured I would know if it was of anything significant through my obviously practitioner education channels. I was not educated through those channels about this product. And it was 2 years later, when she came to stay with me here in Phuket, right in this house actually, that I finally paid attention, because she was a bit insistent that I do. Well, mind you, she had a captive audience. I think she was living in this house for 2 weeks with her 2 daughters. So she had a captive audience, and I thought, look, we better at least take a look at the science, see what this is all about. And no wonder I didn't know, because it was new.
Right.
So, wow. And then the rest is history. Once I started to look at the science and the atomic medical physicist, Dr. Gary Samuelson, who stabilized these molecules, and I looked at the whole genesis of the SEER, I thought, my God, I'm not missing this. I want to be on the product, number one. And number two, if it's half as good as what I'm reading, it is the most universal product to allow the body to heal itself that has ever existed. And it's literally the connection between energy and matter. Redox molecules, the connection between energy and matter. These are nano size, and we'll talk about that another day.
Yes, please hold on to that thought. And we definitely want to have, because I want to dive into that deeper on the next call that we have. But meantime, I just want to say thank you for sharing a bit of your story, and thank you for bringing across all that lovely, that passion and that desire really to be of good in this world, and for saying yes to these calls. So thank you for that. I'm going to say bye to all of you today. Thank you, Dr. Ray. And I invite you all to tune in, stay in, because we're going to dive in deeper into this beautiful world of well-being. And just remember that healthy cells, healthy you, healthy you, happy you. So we've all got a reason to dive in and learn more about this. Thank you, Dr. Ray, and see you soon.
Welcome. Bye, everyone.